Hello, everyone. This is once again your host, bringing you live Shailesh from NZ World News, topics that always matters and topic of real experiences with real people sharing their real experiences. So I would like to invite today Kylie from all the way from Australia. Kylie Simmons is a good friend of mine, but recently, as everybody goes through challenges, she also went through a lot of challenges, and I think the post attracted me, and positive awareness, positive information is what I try to do my best from people that I know, people that I interact, and people that I come in connection with. So today, Kylie, we have done few episodes, but today we are going to do a life-changing episode that literally can listeners, for all listeners to understand that, we all go through lots of challenges. And today the challenge is about not just challenges, but after challenges, what you do. There is an earthquake comes, and then after earthquake, there are aftershocks that are more troubling. So, and that is where our human mind also is along the same lines, right? We want to maintain, we want to stabilize, we want to manage. So, without further ado, Kylie, I'm going to introduce you to, and you can talk about yourself to look after that. And this is a candid conversation today we are going to have with Kylie because she's a good friend of mine, and I think it's interesting. I am in New Zealand, she's in Australia, but here we are. We can talk to anyone today and understand and make an influence and make an impact on what is other person's life journey. So this episode today is all about self-realization. So we call it self-realization, we call it that, okay, self-awareness, or we are aware of ourselves. But let's dwell into that more when we discuss in a very interactive session. But self-realization is one word, but then afterwards, as I said, self-realization is an earthquake. But the after the earthquake is the shocks, earthquake shocks, how you maintain and manage, and that is the bliss moments that we call it. And bliss moments is all in our control. So Kylie, I really appreciate you taking the time and coming to talk about this beautiful topic that you experienced. And what is that? We will get into that more details. But first, give a little introduction of you as a normal human, who you are, and what we are going to discuss about today.
Hi
Over to you.
everyone. I'm Kylie Simmons. I live in Darwin, Northern Territory in Australia. I am a recovered drug addict. So,
Mm,
a couple of months before my son was murdered on the 8th of October 2022, my stepson technically, but he called me mum and I called him son, and he has his beautiful biological mother as well. Um, I was brutally assaulted in a domestic violence incident in Queensland, and I thought I was potentially maybe going to be killed and then him kill himself, or so it was horrifying. And that was
mm,
just 3 months before we had the worst thing
yeah.
possible happen to us,
Mm,
and we lost Kingsley Jr. Uh, it was after this, probably 2 months after his death, after the funeral and everything like that. I held it together, sort of
mm,
shouldered everyone. Had to be really strong for the kids. I had all the kids sleeping in my room. Um, went through the funeral process, organizing the funeral with his biological family as well. And his father. His father was in prison at the time, so I had to go in there and break the news to him, which was awful. It was the first Christmas and New Year's without him, and that's when I relapsed. He was on my mind every minute of the day, and it
mm,
was just so painful. I started smoking meth again,
mm,
methamphetamine,
mm,
and he wasn't on my mind, and I felt number. I didn't feel as much, and that was the goal.
mm, mm,
Um, so, but it has so many horrible side effects.
mm,
So, I've had a journey of that for about 2.5 years. I've been desperate for sobriety throughout that whole time.
mm,
Um, I just did so many things. I tried so many things, which we can get into at some point throughout this interview. But I'm now 1 month sober. I've wanted this
mm.
for so long. I've been desperate for this. I've tried everything, even exorcisms,
Yeah,
which is very fascinating
that
when
is
you're going.
exactly what this topic is all about, listeners. Kylie, once again, just move your head a bit up because I think it's a bit
I'll
going
push this
down.
down.
Yeah, yeah, that's better. You're
How's that?
little down, little down, not up. You're going up. Yeah, that's it.
Ah,
But
okay.
little
Yeah.
up, little
Got it
up.
up.
When I say up, like you just should be a little up. Yeah. So now you're touching down. So I want you to be up a little.
You want my forehead up?
Ah, yeah, that's it. That's better.
Okay, so this needs to go down a little bit. Bear
Yeah.
with me.
No problem. Take your time because I think you were cutting off. That's why. I know. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
better?
This is better.
Okay.
Because when you move, then you come down or go up. So this is better. Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so we listeners, this is we are going to talk about a topic which is as she rightly said, a post was made by her called sober. I am 2 years sober or 2+ years sober. After that, whatever she said,
No,
we'll
just
hear
1 month
from her.
sober. 1 month
1 month
sober, yeah.
sober. Okay.
Yeah.
So after 2 years.
Never going back, never looking back. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a challenge for all the listeners. Also, we all have some sort of addiction. We all have some sort of subconscious mind that we dwell into. But then we realize, and then we want those moments to be literally understood by ourselves. So we are going to talk about what is sober means, 1 month sober or 1 day sober, but where to from now after being sober. That's the crux of it, and that's the topic we are going to dwell on it. So Kylie, let's tell me something about when you wrote that post, or what exactly did you mean and what did you feel? What was that realization? Because this is all about yourself realization.
Um, just learning to trust yourself again as well.
Mhm.
For me, it was a very spiritual journey as well.
Mm,
Like I believe it's just, yes, it was my resilience and my just sheer grit and determination and all of the different things that I tried to do to get sober that helped and assisted.
mm,
But I believe it was God that truly helped me
mhm.
and my deliverances. So
Wow.
that's what truly kind of got me over the finishing line. And everyone has a different journey and everyone has different things that will be that'll be their thing that will help them to get sober. Mine was
Absolutely.
that. Mine was that. And I was in prison for 1 week as well.
Mhm.
And that assisted too. Like I just felt
Mhm.
really guilty for my kids and
Right.
just they deserve better than this and I need to
So
just
true.
find it within myself. Like I'm so strong, so resilient. I've been through so much. Wait till I write
Mhm.
my book. You'll spin out on the sheer
Mhm.
amount of things.
Mhm.
But yeah, that kind of pushed me over the line was just the continual just trying everything I could, getting the different bits of help. And sometimes, you can get help, but it won't be immediate that there's a change.
No.
I had many breakthroughs with my trauma
Mhm.
therapist, Mareka from Body Mind
Mhm.
Shock. She's
Mhm.
incredible.
Mhm.
She's even spoken to me after hours sometimes and really assisted me. But yeah, so
But I guess,
for me it was just fantastic. It was just that
Mhm.
feeling of bliss, like, oh, I did 1 month. I've done
Yeah.
1 month and the feeling that I have this time is different. It's not like the other times where I've been sober and
Mm.
not been too sure if it's going to be the end.
Yeah.
Like, is this the end? This time I know for certain. And
Mm.
that just feels so comforting and reassuring.
Mm.
And I'm just every day is new, every day is blissful. I can feel properly again. Everything is more vibrant. Everything is more, yes, you have the bad feelings as well. So you've got to feel them. And that's what I was running from.
Yeah.
But there's the other side of it as well, where you feel everything beautiful more. You can feel it properly. You're happier, more affectionate. I really
Mm.
lost my affection side of things, so that would have been hard for the kids. Always had food in the fridge, power on. I
Mm.
looked after them this whole time as well. I never lost them
Right.
or anything like that to welfare or anything. There was no abuse, but there was a lack of affection from me.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
just another thing that I would always do was just to try busy myself, but in an unhealthy way where I was just constantly always busy, whether it's the phone, cleaning up the house, decluttering, doing things, just busy, busy, trying to find everything I
Mhm.
could so that
Mm.
I wasn't having to think when I'd go to bed. And even when I'd go to bed, I'd
Yeah.
be I'd fall asleep looking at my phone because I didn't want to
Mm.
think. I didn't want to think of my son. I didn't want to think of all these awful things that had happened. And so there was a whole bunch of escapism going on. And so now that I've recovered,
Mm.
I've got my massage business going properly.
Mhm.
I'm going to open an acting and modeling agency called Sim Will
Great.
All. So Sim will
Mhm.
all succeed.
Wow,
Will be the
great.
little slogan. But and that's going to be for Indigenous and Maori models and
Oh,
actors who,
great.
yeah, they're really just underrepresented in the industry. It's about
Yeah,
one to
same,
three percent.
same.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I'm going to
Good
let
on
that
you
be
to
free.
doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that be free for them, and other
Mhm.
people will have a fee, unless they are.
Now we'll talk more about that because I am doing a similar kind of concept where I call it real models. So we will talk.
Oh, cool,
We'll talk
awesome.
about that we can later. Today is
Yep.
all about the soberness, the
Yes, yeah.
self-realization.
So doing these things is what's come from that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, so that's a
it's
good
amazing.
thing. Many innovative things come out, right? Creative things came out of it.
Yeah, exactly. You can think again because it meth really rewires your brain, and in so many different ways. People don't realize, it's a very psychological thing, and that's why it can
Yeah,
be hard to quit. But
yeah.
yeah, no, just being able to do these things again and to be able to think of them and handle everything better, stresses,
Mm,
day-to-day life, waking up early, getting the kids to school on time, things like that is it all comes with
mm,
it, and it really is just so much more beautiful. So
mm,
anyone who's struggling with it, come on over to this side. Try to
mm.
jump that fence
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
is it is really beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about more about the this is a challenge to take help when you need because you feel that stupid or guilty of not taking help.
There's a
And
lot of
I
judgment,
really want
yes.
to talk about that how did you made your mind transition? Because once you go for a few years or few months onto a mode of direction that you cannot think beyond that, and then all of a sudden you realize that this is not what I'm neglecting, I'm ignoring, I am doing a lot of un, unwanted, unpleasant things. And that realization then seeks some help from others, from surroundings, or whatever agencies, as you said, your therapist or whoever, that happens. But that point is very hard for many people to get into that because they just fall into the same mode and they never come back out of it, and they keep doing the same old thing regularly. But you, for once, now have decided to change after a month, and you have been a month now without attached to those addictions or without attached to those mindset. How did you change this mindset? Like
See, it's
what
it's
really
it's
went through?
it's difficult. It's different for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I was never okay with it. I was never okay with the relapse. So it was
Mm,
only just months after I relapsed in January 2023. It was the
right.
first Christmas and New
Mm,
Year's Eve without my stepson.
mm, yeah.
And that I just, yeah, that's when I just broke. And so I got help immediately. I tried to get help, and my whole 2.5 years has been filled with me trying to get help. And so there's going to be a real highlight on just how pathetic some of that help can be, because I
Mm,
have tried everything in my power to get help, and I've had issues at every turn, and it's been really quite disgraceful. So I really want to try and advocate for people and change some systems and things like that.
mm,
Which, yeah, just giving myself a little bit more healing time, and I'll be getting straight into that type of
mm,
work.
right.
So I went to a trauma clinic in
Mm-hmm,
Thirroul in New South Wales.
mm-hmm,
Um, Now, the group therapists there were great. They were there for the
right.
right reasons. It was
Mm-hmm,
run by people that I believe were just purely in it for the money. And the
mm-hmm,
psychiatrist that I had was quite narcissistic. And
mm-hmm.
there was a false positive as well, which I was like positive
Sure.
test. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on any medication that would
Mm-hmm.
have that happen by accident or anything like that. So it was quite
Sure.
confronting because I'd been very good and I was quite proud of myself. I'd actually had an
Mm-hmm.
offer from someone who lived near there to, hey, come out on your leave and we'll have some. And I said no. So I was quite
Right.
proud of myself. To see that result was quite confronting and confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And they gaslighted me and acted like I was lying and everything else. So I said I want a blood test. I want to do my own as
Mm-hmm.
well when I go on leave and things like that. It turned out that the nurse had done the test wrong.
Yeah, so this is where I want to understand because all the listeners who are listening, you can easily become a victim
Yes.
other than
Yes.
coming out of it. You
Oh,
can
yes.
easily become
Yes.
victim,
So
and
I
that's a
went there for
very
help
good.
and
Yeah,
did the opposite. Yep.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
So tell
Yeah.
me
So
that, the world that we live in, the system that we live in, the mindset that we live in around us also influences a lot. And then we have become a victim rather than coming out of it, right?
yes, exactly. And that's what's so horrific for me. I was like, wow, this was awful. And I was quite upset. And she started
Mm.
comforting the nurse who was in the
Mm.
room to see if she was okay, instead of
Mhm.
trying to see if I was okay and try to give me some advice on how to calm down or it's going to be
Correct.
all right and we apologize. it was quite the opposite. So that was really horrible. So that was one thing that happened.
Mm,
And I left there just like it didn't help me at all. If anything, it added to my issues. And I was like, this was a trauma clinic, and
mm,
all women's trauma clinics supposed to be there to help me, and it didn't help me. So that was like
true.
my hopes were dashed and I have to build them back up again, which I did. And
Mm,
I started seeing a trauma therapist I found who I'd come across was like a diamond hidden in the bushes. Like
yeah.
I was like, wow, you are incredible. And I can't believe I didn't know about you
Mm,
sooner. Because for other previous things before this, you know what I mean? It would have been nice to have
yeah.
her. So I started seeing her and I had some good breakthroughs with her. And she
Mm,
does flinch lock therapy as well, which is
mm,
removes trauma from the bones. We hold trauma in our bodies a lot and a
mm,
lot of different areas, and you can hold it in your bones as well.
mm.
So, but I won't get into that. But she did many
Yeah.
fantastic things, and um, I saw her for about a year and a half. And like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I had many breakthroughs. I probably would have ended up in a mental institution had it not been for her. Just because after the loss of him and then the near, like what I felt was like a near-death experience, and great violence and having to escape from his house, and
Yeah.
it was deprivation of liberty and everything, and
Mm,
running
mm,
down the street in Brisbane with no top on because it had been ripped off when I was running out the door, and all
mm,
this crazy stuff. And after that, you think that after going through something so huge that nothing else
yeah.
will happen. Well,
Yes.
let me tell you, sometimes it can. And
Mm,
you have to be prepared for that,
yes, have
is
to
my
be.
advice. You have to be prepared that you need to keep being strong. You need to always reach out for help.
Mm,
No matter what, there's always going to be the right fit eventually.
yeah.
But sometimes you can find it's like the saying, you got to kiss a few frogs before you meet your prince.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, the
yeah.
same thing goes for the
Yeah.
help, the mental health help. Sometimes it can be
Correct.
atrocious.
Yeah.
So there was that. I tried to get into rehab. I kept being denied up here. So there's um Banyan, Sunrise, Ford, Caps. There's about 4 or 5 rehabilitation centers in Darwin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't believe any of them are equipped to deal with advanced disorders in people, or mental health issues, which they need
Mm-hmm.
to be.
Mm,
And quite a lot of them sometimes there's politics and there's, if they just don't like, look, one rehab I ended up going to, I was quite vocal about a CEO who was inappropriate with an 18-year-old boy there.
mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, I'm basically being thrown out of there under the
Correct.
sense of
Correct.
something else. So
Yeah.
I've faced many issues. And
But this is the system we live in, right?
yeah, yeah. And the second rehab I went to after that,
Mm.
and there's waiting periods in between, there's back and forth
Yeah.
emails. A lot of people aren't equipped to do this and to deal with that. Like, but they
Mm.
might not even have internet half the time,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean? And there's long waiting
The
periods.
trouble, I think what you are describing is really empowering, powerful for many people who are listening to understand that, we go through a lot of things that we have come through and we had to suffer all the pain. But we also are here to seek help and express ourselves. But the opposite is always not accepting the way you want.
Mm,
So it becomes self kind of dependent and kind of self realization as we are talking today
mm,
is how do we heal self ourselves rather than more depending on others. Yes, these guidelines, these agencies are there for us to help, but we know when we need it, they probably have got different mindset and different way of systems to deal with, and they
mm,
are working through a system. And what human mind is not a system driven, it is all about your own mind has got your own system.
mm,
Basically, it's a unique one. So in terms of what you are going through, the challenges, and then you becoming first aware, then you seeking help. That's the second thing, seeking help from by yourself. And then third, if you are not getting that help, then you still have to manage yourself. Third thing. Okay. So tell me, go when you go through this, particularly when you have been, going through these addiction challenges of so many things and then becoming a victim of many things, basically. Yet you have managed this 1 month now to be where you are or what you want to be. Tell me what sense now you feel after this, and why did you feel that that was wrong what you were doing and this is right what you have come out of it? give me something on that. Like what, how
It's
did you
not.
made up your mind?
Yeah, it's not about right or wrong. With
Okay, yeah,
addictions, like it is 100% like a disease. It is
okay,
not something that you can control.
true.
So it's not about right or wrong. Like I didn't want to do it the whole time, 2.5 years, but yet I still did it because
Mm-hmm.
I had that much pain within me, that much
Mm-hmm.
hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and even getting help from the trauma therapist and stuff. There's just so much to cycle through and so much to do, and it all costs money as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's just like I would use, even if I knew that I was going to be tested by corrections. I'm currently on a corrections order for some behaviors
Oh,
and things that
okay.
I did whilst on drugs to keep money flowing and to make sure that my addiction didn't affect the family. I won't get into
Mm.
that because there's an active court case from last year at the
Right,
moment.
right.
But yeah, so um there's many things, and there's many stress factors as well that you put into it,
Mm-hmm.
on top of everything else that people were going through, lots of trauma and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you can just be like, oh well, because it says on a piece of paper here that I'm not allowed to do it, I will just
Mm-hmm.
stop.
Yeah.
You can't just stop. You can't just stop. You need help, you need compassion, no judgment
Yeah.
from people. People need to be try to be understanding and compassionate. And sometimes people do things that are really awful on it, and or they'll steal from family, or they'll have psychotic episodes, or they'll,
Mm.
attack people. And that's because they're staying awake for too long and they're not taking care of themselves during that process as well, and the drug itself.
Yeah.
I didn't have issues with that because I was sleeping nearly every night. And now
Mm.
that may be due to the fact that I was using nearly every day, so I was used to it, but
Mm.
also that I have ADHD, and so it's a stimulant. I
Right.
could sleep on it. But there's people who are getting untreated and or slipping through the cracks in the system. Like the system it's not good enough. And
Mm.
so people will have this issue and just no help at all, and they just freak out, flip out, and have issues with this, psychological issues and things like that. And so
Mm.
for me, it's more just going to prison that helped a bit. I felt really guilty for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and living that lifestyle in
Mm.
there,
Mm.
being locked down. I was locked down in high security with some other beautiful women in there, and even a family member of my daughter from Borroloola. My daughter's part
Mm-hmm.
Indigenous, and so she recognized me. She, oh, you're Sade's mum.
Mm.
So it wasn't too bad like that or anything. I didn't have any fights or anything like that, but I saw one of my son's murderers in there. The mother
Mm.
of
Okay.
the daughter that he'd originally had the altercation with at the party, like just a
Right.
fight, talking fight.
Mm.
So that was horrible. That wasn't nice. I didn't want to be living around her.
Mm.
They kept us separated. That's why they put me in high security, because they were
Mm.
concerned that I would assault her. And that I didn't, I deeply to my core did not like that. So
Mm.
there was all these little factors, but at the end of the day, it was a
Mm.
build up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, I had
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
I had to get help. I've started seeing a psychologist, and thank goodness for the 10 free sessions you get through a GP. You go to your GP, ask for a mental health plan, and get 10 free sessions referred to a psychologist. If you
Mm.
don't like it with that psychologist and they're not gelling well with you, or you're noticing narcissistic tendencies, like I mentioned about the psychiatrist I had, go and
Mm-hmm.
see a different one and request it, because
Right.
your mental health is paramount. People can't just get sober without fixing the issue, the root
Mm.
cause as
Yeah.
to why they want to take drugs in the first place. And why do you want to tap out?
True.
What is
Very
going
true.
on? Let's get to that and let's fix that.
Mm.
So
The
for me, it
source.
was God. I was going to church. I started having these exorcisms. They call them deliverance,
Mm-hmm.
and getting closer to Him and praying and praying and praying, and reading the Bible. Um, and yeah, the mixture of that, going into prison for the week. I was lucky it was only a week. I'm
Mm-hmm.
currently on bail now, to be honest.
Mm.
And I get tested, but before that, even if I knew I was getting tested, depending on
True,
what
true.
what trigger I'd have throughout the day, because I'm still living in the house that my deceased son was living in. So there's
Mm-hmm.
memories everywhere. So that's what that contributed as well to the
Mm.
whole length of time that I've been using, because I've been in this house with all these memories and stuff, and then I was dealing with a lot of severe mental abuse from a partner that I was seeing on and off,
Mm-hmm.
as well. And then we had the trial, the murder trial, which was, that went for weeks. There was 4 people charged with murder. They've just got
Mm.
20 years now, and they're trying to appeal right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that will be in December. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. So I'm still got some stresses going on. You know, I've got my
Yeah,
large court case for my criminal behavior, and
yeah.
then I've got, you know, this coming up as well, and we're looking for headstones, which that's taken too long as well, you know, and I feel guilt for that. But it's just been so triggering and hard, you know, and yeah, constant distractions and being
Mm.
busy and this and that, and constantly trying to apply for rehabs and then getting knocked back and then having to try elsewhere. I had to start looking out of state. I had to
Mm.
start looking out of state. And so you're emailing these people every time you've got to go
Sure.
apply, you go
Mm.
back to the doctor. So there's
Mm.
all these things that people are, like can be dealing with and or not know how to
Mm.
do. They don't know how to
Yeah.
do it. So, you know, it's not a right matter of right or wrong. The whole time I didn't want to do it. And I was desperate, like, please, what is it going to take? And so
Mm.
I think for me, it was a mixture of just my spirituality,
Yeah.
going to prison, and
Mm.
all the resilience that I'd built up over the period of time. So for everyone, it's different, and it depends on what they've
Correct.
been through in life and what
Yeah.
start they've had and what help.
So basically, you have gone through so much. You have been, different kinds of issues, not
Oh,
just
so
one,
many. I can help so many
different
people
kinds.
with things
Yeah.
because I want to be a trauma therapist. So,
Right.
the only exciting thing about all of that, because I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't fun. The only exciting thing about all of that is that now I can use that to help others. So I've been through pretty much everything except the kidnapping. My trauma therapist made a joke about it. She's like, "Oh gosh, Kylie, don't get kidnapped." That'll be next. So that's a little joke we have. But no, I've been through pretty much everything you can name.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. But
DV. I've committed DV when I was younger as well. My partner was very
oh,
promiscuous, and
hmm
I would just, you know, lay hands. So that's not okay.
mm,
And I've had DV on committed on me multiple times, multiple men. I was kind of stuck in a cycle there.
mm.
I'm a healer. I love helping people. So I would pick up the little wounded birds that just so happen to be crazy and violent. Um,
Right.
and so yeah, relapse, drug addiction.
Mm,
I've been through being sober and having a very close family member. So I've been on the other side of the fence as well. I was
right.
drugged and raped over 10 years ago. So
Wow.
there's that as well. You know,
So
had a
mental
murder in the
trauma,
family.
physical trauma, you name it, everything.
Everything mental has just been like I've almost lost my mind probably twice. My
Mm,
therapist Marika helped me with that using havening, which
mm,
is where you softly and slowly do this.
mm,
Will stand up for you very softly and
mm,
slowly. And if you can do it for roughly about 10 minutes, your body will calm down. And that can help for if someone is too high and they want to come down from that a little bit. It can help with mental health stuff. If you're about to like wig out, have a bit of a psychotic episode or whatever, or
even
just
anxiety.
overwhelmed. Yep.
Mm,
So you can do that, or you can do this really slowly as well.
mm,
Or what people usually like is this one, and it's all called havening. So people can Google that and have a
mm,
look, and that'll help. That helped me.
mm,
She was doing some sort of repetitive soothing talk. I can't remember what it was now.
mm.
Whilst doing the havening on me while I was
Right,
lying on a
right,
sort of
right.
like a massage
Uh-huh.
table in her clinic. Yeah, and
Mm,
that was I would have gone to the mental institution if it wasn't for that. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't a psychotic episode due to drugs. It was sheer overwhelm and overdrive, and my mind had had enough. I was about to snap. My mind was going to
mm,
snap,
mm,
and I don't know what that would have looked like afterwards, or whether it would have
mm.
just been a little psychotic episode, or what it would have been. But it was a
True.
very strange feeling. It was a very
Mm,
strange feeling, like
mm-hmm.
kind of like you're in a daze, you know, and it's kind of extra bright and everything, and just kind of yeah, very very hard to explain. But I
Mm.
certainly know what it's like to go through that, and so whatever I can do to help others, I
Understand.
love that. So that's my goal.
So tell me, go back to that one little thing I want to ask for all the listeners because you went through, and you have this kind of rediscovering yourself. But more importantly, because you have gone through so much of trauma of different kinds, and plus you already had a history and a baggage of traumas, right?
Yes, yeah, throughout my
And
life, yeah.
that itself is like overwhelming. And that's why it is very hard for anyone to come out of that situation so easily.
Exactly. Especially due
Okay.
to like friendship groups as well. Pretty much
Yeah,
all of my friends, kind of around the time I did, whether it was within the space of a year or not, they had relapsed as well. And
correct.
that's like best friends, like close,
Mm,
my close friends. And so, and then I'm obviously made friends within
mm,
that scene. They're all going through their own stuff. They're all, you know, having a hard time too. everyone's kind of sharing drugs with each other as well, thinking that they're helping,
mm,
and yeah, you just got to try and pull away from that. And so obviously I'm not hanging around those same people that are doing those things now, but I'm still very close with them and I love them and I want to help bring them out of it. So I'm
mm,
now a positive contributor to that. But the whole way throughout my addiction, I was always saying, don't you remember what it feels like to be sober? I
mm,
miss that so much. And I'd
mm,
always have those kinds of talks with them, and I'd talk to them about deliverance as well, and that I can come to church and we can get it done. And so now I've actually had two people come to church and they had their first ones last Sunday. And so that was amazing. And then afterwards we went and did something fun together. And so I am still every now and then hanging out with some of my friends that are still having those problems, but I'm
mm,
just making sure it's not too much. I'm trying to be that positive influence for them without bringing myself back down into that
mm,
issue, and that exposing myself too much to it, to
mm.
anything. And yeah, so yeah, it's working a little bit. I'm getting there step by step.
Yeah.
But for
Cool.
me, I just feel incredible every day.
Mm,
Every day I thank God and it's blissful. It's blissful. Like
yeah.
I'm just getting all these blessings as well, you
Mm,
know, and all these ideas.
mm,
And because we can rewire our neurons in our brain.
mm,
You go listen to Dr. Caroline Leaf. I got so much respect for that woman. She talks about all of that and with the
mm,
mind and her research. She's been a brain scientist for like I think over 30 years now. She talks about all of that as well. But yeah, there is life after meth, and let me
mm,
tell you, it's a lot better.
mm. Yeah, no, but addictions cause you, but what I want to focus today is like what this self-realization did to you so that people can understand that, they can always they can always rediscover themselves. And what I meant by that rediscovering is everybody has got different challenges that they go through and the different traumas that they go through. But then every moment is an opportunity to rediscover yourself rather than becoming a victim and
So just
going
never
into the
giving up, I guess, with everything that goes on around you is just like even small things like on Facebook, what you're absorbing, what you're looking at. Try to find sites that are positive and follow them.
That's exactly
Remove
what.
people. Yeah, look, you don't have to remove people, but try to silence the notifications
Correct.
of theirs that come up that are constantly negative.
Yes.
Try not to watch the news so much,
Mm.
but try to remove as much negativity as possible from your life,
True.
especially being in those scenes. Like, you wouldn't catch me at a trap house no matter what this whole
Mm.
time. When I was an addict the first time in 2010 to 13, I
Mm.
was doing all of that. Um, so I really was just making sure that as much as possible, I could
Mm.
do whatever I could to counteract the meth use and the everything else. So, for example, yes, I'm taking a poisonous substance at the time, but I would make sure that my shampoo, my moisturizer, my everything is vegan, is healthy, is
Right.
this, is that,
Mm.
eating all the time,
Mm.
and healthy foods as much as I can, things like that, and
Mm.
getting sleep as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Because then that helps you with your mindset as well. So if you're getting less and less sleep, that's why usually the people who have like little freakouts and whatnot,
Mm.
that's because they're
Mm.
not sleeping enough or eating enough. And they're
So,
being around people who have had these hard times as well, who
mm.
are perpetrating against them too, by accident or not meaning to, but they're
Yeah.
having a hard time and then they're going to treat someone like crap. And
Yeah.
so you surround a whole group of people like that, just constantly every single day. Like I know someone who's still stuck in that rut, and we're not friends anymore because she's done a few things that are just unacceptable. But um, she's just constantly every day is a bad day. You know what I mean? There's
But
always something bad happening. For me,
yeah.
it was about
Mm.
just doing whatever I could to absorb as much as possible. Manifesting, like I have things written on my walls like saying I choose life, I release this habit with love one moment at a time. I'm learning new ways to soothe my pain. Constant reminders like that on my mirror with
So
the text that you can write on. I'll say I love being sober, and
yeah.
just always building that up. That's my advice for anyone. But my self-realization here was that I can deal with anything now. Like
So this
when you
one
can get
month,
over an addiction, yeah.
so this 1 month of sober, how do you describe it when it comes to every single day that you have gone through, without doing what you were doing? So
So I
just
so
to tell.
it's a journey in itself, and every day is different, but there's always usually a repetitive pattern that I've found because I've been sober a
Mhm.
few times in the last
Yeah.
2.5 years. I've always kind of got to that month mark, like
Mm-hmm.
in a rehab. But doing it myself out here has been quite different. It's been lovely,
Mm.
and surprising and beautiful. But as the first couple of days, you just sleep
You
a
just
lot.
sleep. Yeah,
You
yeah,
just
yeah.
sleep. And then you have cravings that
Correct.
you've got to try to beat that down.
Mm.
Um,
Temptations.
that's the thing. Sometimes people just can't help it depending on what is going on for them.
Yeah,
But
correct.
you've just got to do whatever you can in your power to overcome that, you know. It's step by step, day by day, but sometimes for people it's minute by minute or hour by hour, you know.
Yeah, basically,
Um,
I want to put this in into two contexts, like a subconscious mind and a conscious mind. So a
mm,
subconscious mind will always tell you to do what you have been
yes,
doing,
what it's
what is the
used to.
pattern.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then the conscious mind is telling you, no, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm over it. I don't want to do this anymore. And so
Mm.
that challenge between two minds, subconscious and conscious, is a challenge to every day to go by. How did that, and in your spiritual sense, because you also talked about a little bit of spirituality where we understand our body, our own self, and our own mind and our own thoughts. Give me something for the listeners also. I can understand when it comes to, self-realization, it is also called another form of spiritual awakening, or it's called an awakening yourself or self-awareness, right? So how did you feel in that context? What would you say, so that all the listeners who are listening, that even though you moved out of the pattern format into a different, against the format of pattern, you are now in 1 month, what challenges you have definitely faced, but then how do you feel inside yourself? And so that people can say, okay, yeah, I have not experienced it, but if I experience it, what would that be? And every experience is different, everyone's feeling is different, but we want to talk about you this month. What was your feeling experience in that 1 month that has gone by?
For me, For me, it's just been peaceful. My life has been so
Oh.
chaotic for so long, and I
Mm.
haven't been used to peace. I guess I was kind of scared of peace, you know,
Yeah.
scared of just sitting down and allowing the thoughts to float through my mind, you know.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
it's been peace. It's it's because it can be hard to explain because um I
mhm,
knew the whole time that I didn't want it,
mm,
this life and what the life I was living, and I'd cry over it and
mm.
be in despair and
Yeah,
but I just couldn't, I just kept doing it. I just
sure.
kept doing it. So for me, it's been I guess prison was really it was it doesn't prison I don't believe prisons rehabilitate people.
No,
Right.
I
But
think
but I
more.
think the sheer shock of it
Yeah,
and being in there for me kind of got me over that
yeah.
last hurdle. Because when I came home, my son had my photograph on his bed to sleep with. And that for me was just gut-wrenching and
Mm,
I just felt awful. So that's kind of really that helped me in the first few weeks because when I got out, I was like, you know, everyone kind of goes, yeah, like I'm gonna go to my friend's house and I'm gonna do this and that. And I had that thought.
right,
And I didn't do it this time. So and
right.
then I just kept on from there. I made sure that I kept my
Hmm.
circle. I didn't hang out with any of my friends those first few weeks, the ones that I mentioned
Hmm.
previously,
Yeah,
um, which I am now in sporadic, you know, here and there.
yeah, sure,
I
sure.
knew I wasn't strong enough at the start.
Mm,
So for me, it's just been that realization, and as each day goes by, I felt better and better,
mm,
and I
mm.
felt
And
healthier
that's the
and
positive.
healthier. Yeah, and I felt more
Mm,
vibrant. I could feel more, which yes, sometimes you have the bad feelings and you need to feel them. Like there's a such thing as toxic positivity.
mm.
Well, just smile, blah, blah. No, you need to feel your pain, you need to feel the negative feelings, but don't sit there. Don't
Yeah,
stay there.
yeah.
And so for me, it's been just it's been beautiful. Like the kids have their mum back, I'm
Mm.
more affectionate with them. I'm doing things with them again. Like I wasn't doing much stuff with them on the weekends,
Yeah,
on the weekends when they don't have school, you're supposed to take them to do fun stuff or at least sit and do fun stuff
absolutely.
with them, And I want to do that now. I want to
Excellent.
play cards now, or I want to tickle my son until he starts screaming at me to stop.
Oh, that's great.
Um,
That's a brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm going to bed earlier and I'm waking up anywhere between 3 and 6 a.m. And
Mm.
I'm taking my dogs for a walk. So that's something that's helped me as well because you go through a process where you can wake up at odd hours
Yeah, 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 yeah.
after you get sober.
So,
Yeah.
no, that's brilliant. So all the positives are happening in this last 1 month, and this is what we wanted to let all the listeners know that, you may have gone through lots of challenges
It doesn't
yourself,
define who you are. Yeah, you can
but
always
yeah,
change it and you can always,
you can
you
always change it.
no
Yeah.
matter what, no matter how horrible it's been, like some people are like,
Mm.
oh, I was raped or I was held captive or and that's awful. That's awful.
Or
Awful. It
addiction to
feels,
meth or
but
addiction to
it's,
whatever. Yeah.
yes, addiction to cocaine, sex, work,
Mm.
addicted to people, like different
Mm.
people. It's all craving something else. You're craving
Mm.
dopamine or you're craving
Mm.
different things. Heroin gives people a certain releases a certain,
Yep.
what is it called? Within your stream, like dopamine is a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. I know
But
exactly what you
yeah,
mean.
and
But
meth is
mm.
for more dopamine, and it's something what like Dr. Gaber Mate explains. It's
Mm.
someone's missing all these things that could have happened from childhood as well, sometimes from birth.
Mm.
But yeah, you're chasing these different things and you're chasing these things to fill a void. If
Mm.
you can start figuring out what that void is and
Mm.
how to fix it in a healthy way and how to deal with it,
Mm. Mm.
start unpacking it,
Mm.
that's the way through.
So no matter what you have gone through, no matter what you still have that positive energy and positive mindful and positive thoughts that you could actually do it yourself.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky in that respect. I've always had that kind of real
Mm.
positive outlay in the back of my mind. And I've
Mm.
always said to
Mm.
myself, no matter what, and to others, no matter how shit this feels right now, because I've had friends who are suicidal that I've helped. They
Yeah,
said, thank
true.
you. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you, and I
Mm.
was just like,
Mm. True.
yes, yes. Like I just love helping people but
Mm.
they have said that you also because you lose your serotonin as well
Mm.
with
Mm.
meth, and
So
so that takes away that positive ability to think positive, and so it's just trying to, yeah, like bring
yeah.
as much positivity in your life as possible, whether it's following certain things on Facebook,
Mm.
having a bit of a better positive group around you, and if you can't
Mm.
find
Surrounding.
like many friends, at least have one
Mm.
who's like, hey, it's
Mm.
gonna be all right, we got this, rah, rah, rah. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because yes, at the end of the day, we're responsible for our own healing, but we can't do it ourselves either, like
Mm.
just ourselves. We need help. People need help. Some
Yeah,
people are just in
absolutely.
dire situations and
And this is
worse
exactly
off.
what we are doing today, Kylie. Is
Yeah,
not,
whatever I could say can help someone. I
yeah,
hope,
whatever you're doing
get
is
it
what
out
you're
there.
sharing.
Everyone share, share, share.
Yeah. Not many people have the guts or many people have the inclination to actually share because of shame, guilt, or
And
idiotic.
there's a lot of it. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot
Yeah, a
of
lot
people
of
who are quite
judgment.
nasty.
But
Yeah, they don't understand.
I'm so glad that I met you to talk about
Same,
this
Shailesh. You're such
topic.
a beautiful person.
So I really love your
I love what you're
energy.
doing.
And it is always important for us to, if we can, as you rightly said, if we can help one person by our sharing experiences, then that's it. There
That's
is
right. It's
nothing.
worth it. Like
Yeah,
there'll
it's
be
worth
some
it.
people that will have things to say
And
about this, no matter how positive it's been and how wonderful we've had a chat. There'll always
mm,
be someone who's like, and
yeah,
they'll say something,
exactly.
but you just water off a duck's back because there's going to be 10 others
So
to that one that loved it
that's
and that got something from it.
yeah, that's brilliant what we discussed. So let me end this by asking you, what would be your, after going through and all that, and after also experiencing the sober month as well, what would your message would be to all the listeners who are listening today that, no matter in life, no matter what challenges, no matter what you go through, whether it's your mistake, somebody else's mistake, you are influenced, someone's influence, because this is the influence part where or judging part which comes into the play of human mind and body, and they then don't do what you are doing today is brilliant. So what would be your message to all the listeners?
never, ever give up.
Wow.
Never,
That's a
ever
bold.
give up. Never, ever give up and always look for another outlet. This didn't work. Okay, try this. Hey,
Mm,
I ended up trying exorcisms. I was like, I wanted it so bad, I'll try
mm,
anything. And
mm,
don't ever let anyone convince you that
mm,
what you're doing to yourself when you're taking drugs is okay,
mm,
because it's not. Because there are some people who are sitting in there quite comfortably, destroying their bodies and their minds, and
mm,
no judgment to them either. And they will, oh, don't beat yourself up. It's not even that bad, or la la
mm.
la. Don't ever listen to that. Keep going, keep trying, because no matter what,
Yeah.
and no matter how well you think that
Mm,
you're handling it,
yeah.
there's always going to be an element that's not the same. It takes an aspect of your
Correct.
personality away, whether it's just one, two, or three things, or whatever, how many things.
Mm,
There's always something missing, and it's poison at the end of the
yeah.
day. So never ever give up and always look for another way. Another
Mm,
way. So there's a road stop there. Okay, well, I'm going to look here and there. There's a fork in the road. I don't know which way to go. Pick.
mm,
Just blindfold, pick. Go do whatever you can. Never ever give up and always reach out for help. And if you
mm,
reach out for help and someone is awful about it or rejects you, please, please
mm.
rebuild your hope however you possibly can. My
Yeah.
inbox is always open for anyone.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to talk to anyone I can whenever I can,
Mm,
but just never give up. There's life on the other side of it. I cannot stress to you how beautiful it is. Like, it
mm,
is amazing. And I
mm,
feel so blessed and so grateful to God and to all the people who've helped me and stuck by me
mm,
throughout this whole journey, no matter how hairy it got.
mm,
I cannot thank them enough because everyone's contributed, including myself, and
mm,
so props to me
mm.
too.
Yeah.
But
So,
just keep your resilience strong and do whatever you can. Try to get as
mm,
much positivity in, but
mm.
never ever give up.
That's a bold statement to all the listeners. As Kylie mentioned and said, this is we are going to come to this end of this episode, and I can
Thank
take
you for having me,
take
Shailesh.
a beautiful leaf out of it is never give up. But also, she said the other part, which also you should not forget. There is always another side, another road, another path, another way, another thing, another something beautiful that can happen.
Find what
And
works for
but
you.
you have to keep trying. We can't just give up. You have
Yes,
to keep trying, and that's the beautiful message. I feel very much blessed at this moment
so do
to
I.
make this topic a blissful topic for us and for everyone who are listening. I mean, if you, the more you talk, no matter whatever you have done mistakes or wrong, the
Mhm.
more you will feel better, and the
Yes,
more you
get it
will
out.
find
Vent.
another way. Yeah, and
Yeah,
also you
always.
can find alternative ways for yourself than
Mm.
anybody else by
That's
talking,
right. That's right.
right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? And the opposite of that as well goes for anyone who's feeling suicidal. If you cannot live for yourself today, live for
Mm.
someone else until you can live for yourself.
So true. Very well said, Kylie. With
Thank
that note,
you.
if you can't live for yourself, please live for others. Today, we are all doing this not for us only, we are doing for every human, every humanity purposes. And this is what our goal is to just keep talking and keep conversing on topics like this, on
Yes. Keep the
experiences
channels
like
open.
this, sharing beautiful experiences and making bold for everyone. So, thank you, Kylie, for this
Thank
beautiful
you, Shailesh. It was
conversation.
wonderful talking to you again. Thanks for having
Oh,
me.
we'll definitely get in touch soon for
Yes,
many
we'll
other
talk
things.
again. Love
All
it.
right.
Have a beautiful day. Bye,
Bye for
everyone.
now. Bye for
Cheers.
now. All everyone.
Bye.